Hello, welcome and blessings. Blessings to each of you. Okay, let's just take a moment here and let everyone get in the room. There's just still a couple people. Looks like they're struggling to get in here. So we'll give them a minute. Okay, let's begin. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It's always beautiful to be able to meet in this way. So we have a lot going on tonight. And so I'd like to just cruise through the announcements and then we'll get into satsang. So I want everyone to pay attention to the schedule. So teaching tonight, of course, but I'm going to be missing some groups because I'll be traveling. Let me tell you what I am doing first, though. So I am going to be here. The next time I'll see you officially, I believe, is November 7th for our next online retreat. So please sign up for this in advance. If you need a scholarship, let me know right away. And if you don't hear back from me with the scholarship link, email me again because I'm going to be traveling over the next little bit. I'm going to be traveling a lot between now and the retreat, and I just want to make sure we get you in the door. This retreat will be on the eve of Mercury in retrograde, and that's when communication tends to be off. And so, again, please sign up early and get your link and get all squared away. Okay. In addition to our November 7th through the 9th being open and being free online retreat, we're going to have an in-person retreat January 15th through the 18th in Washington State. Stay tuned for details. In addition to that, we will be at the Shivananda Ashram March 29th through April 2nd, 2026. Hope you can make all three events. In the meantime, we're going to have lots and lots of groups and meetings. But this Wednesday, I may or may not be there for the Kundalini group. I canceled it right now, but just log on the day of, an hour before, look on Facebook, and I'll post the official message. I'm going to arrive at my destination, right before that class. And so if I can pull it off, I'd love to teach it because I hate missing groups. And I know a lot of you really rely on it. So that is the group for 1029. Wednesday nights meditation, I won't be there for that. No satsang November 2nd. That's a week from now. And no Kundalini group or meditation November 5th. Hope that all makes sense, and I'll post it on Facebook. Okay, we got through it. So please shut down your eyes and open your hearts and join me in the quiet radiance of the heart. And so together as a Sangha, I want us to take 3 deep, full breaths. Just letting go of the day, letting go of any thoughts in the mind. And join me. So this quiet recognition that what you are is good, is divine. And so that this is not just words, I invite you to feel your heart, the quiet depth of your heart. This gentle innocence and goodness of the heart. And I want you to imagine that your heart is this massive ocean of love. And I don't want anyone to stand on the sidelines tonight. In fact, I'm going to tell you, I need you to jump fully into the ocean. Fully into the ocean. To this depth of love. This immensity of radiance. And so no standing on the sidelines tonight. We are saying yes to opening fully to this divine radiance that you are. And I'm going to invite you to see yourself as a little baby, as this radiant being of love, of innocence, of purity. In fact, I'm going to invite you to pick this baby up and look at this one right in the eyes, connecting to your original innocence, your gentleness, your tenderness. And I invite you to fall in love with this child, with this presence. I invite you to stay rooted in this love. And then I invite us just to gently reflect on everything that this child has lived through. And it's okay to admit that it's been really hard for most of us here. And it's been quite difficult, and we've gotten confused at various points on the path. There are times when we are certainly lost, times when we are anxious and hurting, heartbroken, or jealous, enraged, humiliated. We've been through so much. And I invite you just to notice in comparison, so we have this innocence of the heart, and then we have all the stuff we've lived through, and all the heartache and pain, great story and drama of our life. And I invite you to join me as you see anything that's here that veils this innocence. I invite you right here, right now, to give it back to life. Pain and suffering, heartache, sorrow, anger, jealousy, rage, anxiety, fear, jadedness, whatever it is. Let's take a deep, full exhale. And allow ourselves to empty out. Empty out of all the sorrow, all the sorrow, all the pain, all the despair. We give it back to life with every exhale. We surrender. Every inhale, we return to this primordial innocence. This tenderness, this open-hearted receptivity. Breathing in and breathing out. And inviting this tenderness, this innocence to spread throughout the body. The sweet essence of light. Waking up the hara, this quiet sense of depth and strength in the belly. So this innocence is going to need us to be strong here on planet Earth. And this strength, it needs our innocence. So it doesn't become harsh, it doesn't become jaded. So we're inviting this innocence to merge into the strength, the depth of the Buddha. And so we're inviting this merging of both love and strength. Love and strength. And so you feel the heart open and radiating with light, with love. The hara, the hips, the pelvis, radiating with this quiet depth of Buddha nature. And as you breathe more deeply and fully into the belly, you may notice the whole spine lighting up. So this quiet depth and this love flowing up the spine, clearing out the throat chakra, and clearing out the mind. And some of us here have had some pretty crazy thoughts, dark thoughts, dense thoughts, heavy thoughts. I invite you just to allow it all to be cleared. All to be cleared. All to be emptied. And whatever it is that you may have been struggling with, I encourage you not to think about it a moment longer, but rather to allow this light to burn it up. To burn it up. Staying rooted and connected. This quiet presence of love. This quiet depth of strength. And so we're inviting this love to really encompass the entirety of the body, the entirety of the psyche. The entirety of your humanity. Blessing you, uplifting you, and even beginning to expand. Blessing your home, blessing your community, blessing your nation, blessing this world. And I'm going to invite everyone's full attention right now. And so I just want to share with you all just some difficult news I recently received. There's a dear brother in the Sangha who lives in that land down under. And he's in a great state of crisis. And I would like us to send a giant wave, a giant laser beam of light in his direction. And all you need to think about is you can just imagine a real handsome fella down in the land down under. And we'll send this one a tremendous amount of light. A brother on the path. And so I invite you to come into your heart chakra and see this giant stream of light flowing from your heart, connecting to everyone's heart in the Sangha, and shining out, blessing our brother who is suffering, filling his heart with love, with light, with hope. Hope for a new life, a new possibility, a greater way, a relief from suffering. Sending him an abundance of support. An abundance of support. We call upon the Divine Mother. We call upon his guardian angels, along with an army of angels to go in the direction of our brother in the land down under, flooding him, filling him, uplifting him, showing him a greater reality, a greater love, a greater truth. So we call upon you, Mother. We call upon you, Christ. We call upon you, Mary, Ganesh, Skandaji, Hildaji, Davidji. Go and be with this brother. Uplift his soul. Bring him into harmony, into balance, into an abundance of support. And so we release our prayer at the feet of the divine. And if any of you are suffering greatly, you can go say, God, how about me? Help me out, please, please. And we'll invite each of you to be blessed, each of you to be uplifted, now and forevermore. Okay. Well, you can gently open your eyes, and I thank you for joining me in prayer. And sometimes I get these emails, and it's just so heartbreaking what people go through here on planet Earth. And I think a lot of us imagine, or perhaps are taught, that this world is, well, it's supposed to be easy, and that things are supposed to work out for us in a certain way. And, I laugh because very few things in my life have worked out the way I imagined they would, the way I thought they would. So often I get a hold of an idea, or an idea has gotten hold of me. And this is more true when I was younger, and I would just run with it. And I would meet obstacle after obstacle and failure after failure, defeat after defeat. And I'd look at God saying, this isn't fair. This is not fair. And God never came to me and said, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I was confused, Mr. Holliday. Yes, life is supposed to be fair for you. That's never what God has said to me. That's never what God has said. Often God has broken me down in the silence, has broken me down in a humiliating defeat of anything that I was holding, which was untrue. It would come crashing down eventually. I was always surprised that God would let me get away with some things for a period of time. And then God would say, no, enough's enough. Let me take this from you too. Let me take this from you too. Let me take this from you. And it's heartbreaking because our ego so often thinks, but I need that. I want that. That thing is going to complete me. It's going to fix me. I'm going to be able to show everyone I'm the best, or whatever it is. And God says, no, let me take that from you. Because you have forgotten that you are complete and total and whole right here, right now, without all these extra things. These extra things being our wants, our desires, our agendas, our political orientation, whatever it is. That's untrue. God will eventually take it. Some of us were really persistent. We like to hold on. I've always been really persistent. I really will hold on to something. Say, this is mine. And sometimes God comes and says, no, it's not. No, it's not. It might have been your turn with the toy, but it's not yours to keep. It's not yours. But God is also reminding us, God is taking one thing away. That you are the entirety of the universe. The entirety of the universe. And if you can hear that, if you can sense that, it's like, oh, I am the entirety of the universe. Well, I don't need this little thing that I once thought was a big thing. You are the entirety of the universe. But so often in life, we make this mistake. Now, I want to invite you just to imagine, like, I'm sure all of us have been to a movie theater before, or maybe just a proper theater. And you walk in there and you see an empty stage, you see an empty screen. And a lot of people, they don't really look much at a screen. They sit there and they're like, when are the characters going to come on stage and do their song and dance? I found myself completely mesmerized with this really terrible TV show. I watched this show. It was one of my favorite actors is Jason Bateman. I don't know what it is about Jason Bateman. I feel like him and me could just be brothers. But I love Jason Bateman. He came out with this new TV show on Netflix. I don't even know what the name of it is. It's a terrible show. I turned it off like 4 times because I was just like, this is a stupid show. It's stupid. I don't like it. It's about people in New York City who want to have a fancy restaurant and be the number one cook and chef in New York City. It's not a reality show. It's a drama. It's a thriller. I, I don't care about your restaurant. I don't care about being number one. Like, I don't care about that. It doesn't do anything for me. But I've got a wife and she really wants me to sit on the couch and snuggle with her at night and watch a show. And I'll put on a show for a couple of minutes. She falls asleep, and then I just sit there and, then I'm left watching the show, or I turn it off and meditate with someone sleeping in my arms. It's quite an ordeal. But I found myself like staying up late watching this show. And, I had to keep reminding myself it's just a show and it's a stupid show. But there was just part of me that just wanted to be entertained. And a good movie, a good show, you'll get lost in it. But I have a really hard time getting lost in a show. But finally, after like the 7th episode, I was like, okay, like I'm into it. And there's only 8 episodes. But anyways, this is the life of the ego. Is we get lost in the story, we get lost in the drama. We find ourselves addicted to it. But I like to do this funny thing when I'm watching a show and right about when it's the climax. I like to just get up and turn the TV off. Just get up and just turn it off and go outside and look at the hugeness of the sky and say, this is what's real. This is what's real. Now, since the beginning of time, teachers have used this metaphor of the stage. If you ever noticed what a stage is, what a theater is, a theater is made mostly of space. mostly of space. And our mind, our sense of self, what we are. And if we're good Buddhists, we call this what we are is vast, spacious awareness. We are this vast, empty space. In this space, if you rest in this space, you'll notice this feeling of being home, of being complete, of being total, of not complaining, not wanting. But as soon as you step into the drama of the mind, the drama of the character, well, you can have lots of wants. You can have wants for cookies. My wife made me some cookies. You can have wants for a new car, a new house, a new partner. You know, these guys on this TV show, I can't even remember what the heck it was about. It's funny, I watch a show and then it goes poof. But these two boys had gotten in trouble. So let me think about the show. I didn't remember the name of the show or what these guys are doing. That's the problem with my mind, is there's so much space there. I lose touch with the story. But if I really think hard, these two boys were in trouble and they wanted out of trouble. And that's the story of everyone's ego. We got ourselves in some kind of trouble and we want out of trouble. And so sometimes, the trouble is I'm hungry. Give me a cookie. Let's have some fun. 2 cookies. Give me 2 cookies. I'm in some trouble. Give me the money. Give me the dollar bills. I'm in some trouble. I got a broken heart. Give me a new lover. Give me a new partner. I got too much work. Give me a break. I've got not enough work. Give me some work. The drama of the mind is just this endless saga of I want, I need. Because as soon as we step into the drama, it's like putting on a mask. The mask is empty and it's insecure. Like anything that's like an empty mask and you believe yourself to be this mask, you're going to feel insecure. Whereas when you know yourself as space, it's a very funny feeling. When you know yourself as space, there's this sense of, I am nothing and I'm okay. I'm good. And I am everything and I'm okay and I'm good. And things can come and go within this space. And if we align with simply being the space, there's this innate goodness that prevails throughout our life. But as soon as we step into that mask and say, I am this mask, and you look in the mirror and you say, this mask is kind of old, or this mask is too young. I can remember when I first started teaching, I was like, I'm pretty young. I was like, I was really welcoming gray hair to come. I was welcoming gray hair to come. I didn't know if I was going to lose my hair too at the time. I didn't know that was going to be a part of it, part of that journey. It's just like when you're in the mask, it's like, can I get the hair back? Can I get the hair to be dark again, not gray? Can I get rid of the crow's feet and this and that? Whatever people think about. Can it be different? Whereas when you step into spacious awareness and know yourself as spacious awareness, you don't want it to be different. You say, yes, please, let's have more of this, more of this. I feel as big as the sky, as vast as the universe. Let's continue to open to this. But when we're in the mask, we say, I want that one thing. And if I get that one thing, I know it's going to make me happy, at least for maybe 35 seconds, maybe for 35 seconds. And after that, I'm going to be disappointed. I'm going to be let down and I'm going to want again. And how often will that happen? Just about every time. Just about every time we get an egoic desire, we say, this is good. I'm happy for a temporary moment. And then the mind says, I would like one of those, one of those, one of those, or one of those, or one of these, and one of these. You know, there was, I've said this before, but there was a fella in the Sangha once upon a time, and he was dating Miss Universe. Like she was like, you know, the beauty queen, Miss Universe. And his mind found a way to look at her and say, not good enough, not good enough. And that's the nature of the mind. Whereas when you step into the true mind, desire falls away. And this feeling of completeness, of totality arises. And we say, oh my God. Oh my God, I am God. You are God. Life is God. It's so incredibly beautiful. So incredibly beautiful. And sometimes it it does something real silly that we'll even have tragedy come our way and we will laugh out loud. Laugh out loud. Because we know this tragedy is also the hand of God. We know that this tragedy is coming to liberate us, to free us, to help break down or break apart or take away a belief that's limited, that's less than, a belief that's just simply not the truth. Not the truth. And so I ask you, what is it that you believe? What is it that you've held on to that is not the truth? But my teacher used to say this funny thing to me. He used to say this thing, like, you know, when I was young, he'd say, Craig, you carry yourself like with this certain kind of attitude, this certain angst toward life. Because, you know, there's like some level of rebelliousness, but it's a rebelliousness that really, well, it became an identity. It had become an identity. Like when I met my teacher, I was like a mix. It's a funny thing. I was deeply spiritual individual. I've always been that. But on the outer shell, it was like a mix between like this rebellious, angry punk rocker and, you know, a hippie who didn't want to be a part of the system. And, you know, in the world of spirituality, there's a lot of that. There's people who don't want to engage. with the system. I don't want to engage. I don't want to be a part of it. And throughout history, spiritual seekers just have left society. It's like, we're going to go to the desert. We're going to go to the desert. We're going to go to the ashram. We're going to hang out on top of the mountain. We're going to hide out somewhere where we don't have to face this thing called life. But in the modern age, God is inviting us, God is challenging us, each of us, to engage with this world. And it's a great question. How do we engage with this world? From a place, from perspective of absolute spaciousness. There's not going to be much engagement. Not going to be much engagement. But if we look deeper in ourselves, we see, oh, God also gave us a heart. And we're meant to engage in this world with this great heart that we have. But some of us have engaged in the world with this great heart that we have, and we end up feeling beat up. And we come to recognize, oh, this heart also needs this quality of strength. The energy of the hara. And when we have heart and hara, we can have a profound impact on this world. Profound impact. But still, the world will take a toll on you, and you'll find that you need this spacious emptiness as well to really balance yourself out. We need lots of space. That's just keeps us sane, all that space. A tremendous amount of love. If we're going to live with any meaning and purpose, it's going to be a life of great love. If we're going to be of any support to this world, any care to this world, any service to this world, it's going to require great love and great strength. And as you see, this is a radically different orientation than what can I get from the world. The ego's view is, what can I get? The world is supposed to serve me. And sometimes on planet Earth, like, we get this idea that the world is supposed to serve me. Very popular belief in the modern age. Supposed to get everything I want. Is that what we're here to do? Just get everything we want. Just like a big shopping cart we push around and just fill our life with a lot of material goods and experiences. And that's how the ego lives. The spiritual one says, no. No, we ask a different question. We don't ask, what can I get? We might ask, well, who am I? Am I the movie screen, or am I the drama? Am I the stage, or am I the performance? If we identify with being the performance, being the drama, there's just a basic math here. We will suffer. Whereas when you identify as the stage, as the screen, you see, the screen doesn't suffer. Like a screen doesn't suffer, it doesn't age. It's timeless and eternal, ever present, new, fresh. It's blank, it's empty. Like the feeling of it is this fundamental sense of aliveness. I love the way the Buddha spoke about prajnaparamita, pregnant with all phenomena. Prajnaparamita is like the great mother, the primordial presence. It's before anything has arisen. Everything, all possibilities are within us, but nothing has arisen yet. When you know yourself, it's the great prajnaparamita. Well, you know yourself as freedom, as this timeless reality. And this is basic sense of happiness and joy toward life. But when we think of ourselves as this character in a world of great tragedy, where God is constantly coming along and taking things away from us, we might start to think of ending our life. We might say, I've had it with this world. I've had it. Things aren't working out for me. It's not fair. It's not right. It's unjust. And we can complain all day long about this world and not exhaust all the ways we could complain about this reality. Or we can open our hearts and come to recognize that you are this vast, timeless, unborn nature. And out of this unborn nature is this radiating love, this tremendous depth and freedom. And whatever we choose, whether we choose a life of ego and I want to get, or a life of I want to be, well, this choice, this one choice will determine how much you suffer. How much you suffer psychologically. This one choice. But just like anything on the spiritual path, we make this one choice. We might have to make it again and again and again until this thing stabilizes. With the ego, it seems like the thing's just on autopilot. It's just like always just telling us, I want. Just like if you listen to CNN, they'll tell you who to hate. You listen to Fox News, they'll tell you who to hate, who's wrong. And we can be lost in that. We can just be fed this eternal program of suffering, of division. Or we can step way back. I like this image of, like, a lot of us, we have all of our awareness up here, and this is where all of our thoughts are in this prefrontal cortex, just up here in the front of the brain. When you take this, when you pull awareness to the back and take this big backward step, you notice, oh, my consciousness shifts immensely just through bringing awareness back here. And I want you to just join me here. I want you to imagine just stepping way back here, and then just watch the palms of my hand, and then looking up at the hugeness of the sky. Because most of us, our awareness is right here, and then our thoughts are right here. We're just like someone in the movie theater just staring at the screen like, oh, we step way back. And I don't know if you've ever done this, gone to a movie theater, and when the movie's on, you look up. I do it all the time. I do it all the time. It's a tremendous killer. Like, it kills the movie, it kills the drama, it kills the storyline. I just look up, and then I look back and I went, it's not so interested in this one anymore. I'm just not so interested. Even this movie, this show, this drama, what do they call it? A series? I didn't even make it to the end. I didn't even see what the end was. I didn't even see what the end was. It's a funny thing. I saw myself get addicted to this show. First, I hated the show, and I kept giving it a try because my favorite star was in it. And then I didn't even stay to the end because I kept looking up, kept going outside. And we have to ask ourselves, like, do I want to be a dramatic person? Do I want to know what happens in the tragedy, or do I want to wake up? Do I want to wake up? When I was in India, I met this group, and these guys were talking. They had a spiritual teacher who would take them to the movie theater, and I loved seeing movies. I saw a bunch of movies when I was in India, by the way, because I just wanted to go hear someone speak some English. I just needed to be around some English speakers because it's hard when you're in a foreign land and you don't hear your native tongue for long periods at a time. But I go to the movies every now and then in India, and back then, you'd see a movie for like a quarter. It might even have been like 10 cents, and it would be like the latest movies. I think the most movies I've ever seen in my life was in India, like in a short period of time. I probably saw like, 4 or 5 movies. And anyways, but I remember running into these people. We were talking, outside an ashram somewhere in Tiruvannamalai, and they said their teacher had taken them into the movie, the whole song, the disciples, whoever it was, like 10, 15, 20 of them. And then right at the climax, just get up and walk away. and all the students, because they were good students, they just followed their teacher. They're like, okay, here we go. Here we go. And I just thought that was a real fun, just a fun teaching, a fun exercise. A fun exercise, just letting it die, letting it fall away. Letting whatever that stream of drama that's just floating in our mind just come to a screeching halt. The way Gagaji teaches about this, she says, just stop right now and drop it right here, right now. If you want to be free. If you don't want to be free, keep talking about it. Keep engaging with it. Keep picking it apart. And you'll find that there'll be some things in your life that you trip over for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25, 30. I'm always amazed when we can hold on to something for 30 years. I mean, that's just an amazing skill, an amazing skill. And if you imagine like that young baby that we were witnessing in meditation, like our first face here on planet Earth in this lifetime, you see this most beautiful face of the baby, and this the innocence, the purity that we were, that we are. And then it gets covered up. It's still there. It's always there, but it gets covered up. And we have all these opportunities, just like we have an opportunity, I think. We can all take a shower every day, I think. We all probably have indoor plumbing. Or not. We could just continue with it. And after a while, it starts to get filthy. It starts to get dense. And I've had this before. Like when I was a hippie, sometimes I'd just be out in the sun and in the dirt, like camping and like following the Grateful Dead around. We just get covered in filth, and your skin would just start to turn brown. And like a lot of like the homeless folks just who like live outside, you see it's like a mix between just like a great suntan and just dirt and dirt just all mixed in together. And like we can be like that. Or we can let it all go. We can let it all empty out. we can step back and look up in the sense of 360 awareness in every direction. And immediately we are renewed, refreshed, reborn into our original essence. Now, as we come down into the body, we might realize, oh yeah, I got to do some more work down here in the body. It's not that simple, Mr. Holliday, but that's why I work as a therapist also, is because we help to clear the veils. We help these things to empty out of us. And that's why I also recommend, doing 1,000,001 things to clear ourselves. Whether that's a cold plunge or a sauna or body work or going on a run or climbing a mountain or spending time in nature or spending big periods in silence, meditating every day and doing yoga, like the list goes on, because it's a messy world. Anyways, if anyone has a question, please raise your hand. Johan emailed a beautiful question, so I'd like to get to that. Thanks, Johan, for the question. It's funny, Johan, he has a story real similar to mine, just in that, like, we were both young carpenters and we struggled with it. I came to my teacher with this question all the time. My teacher was in a little bit of a dilemma because I worked for him, and I worked for him, as a carpenter, among other things. I built like retreat housing and took care of the retreat grounds, and then I was his, support person and assistant and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, but I worked really hard with my hands for many years, worked in the trades for many years. And Johan asked this question from this perspective. How to stay connected to the divine while doing work that seems to require my logical, practical, problem-solving mind. I sometimes fear that if I connect to God at work, I'll be very slow and that will be problematic. When you worked as a carpenter, did you struggle with that? Yes, every day. Is the doing of working 8 hours, 4 to 5 days a week, a hindrance to awakening? Yeah, it's a hindrance. Work, having a job, human responsibilities, having children, paying bills. It's all a hindrance. This whole world is one giant hindrance from the perspective of ego. From the perspective of spiritual awakening, it's all God. Whether you're swinging a hammer or bop, 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 working the nail gun, or working that skill saw or the sawzall. I love all the tools. I have piles and piles of tools at my house. It's ridiculous. If someone needs a house built, I'm ready to go. But I'm not that ready because it's hard work. So the question goes on. Is it a hindrance to awakening, or is it a potential necessity of growing up and experiencing some level of relative discipline and a sense of confidence and capability? Yes. Yes to everything, Johan. This world is an absolute drag. But what are we doing here? That God is challenging us to wake up in a really heavy, dense planet, to wake up while it's a drag. That's a crazy thing to say, but God has created an evolutionary world, and in worlds that are evolutionary, it's hard. We grow through difficulty. So through showing up to work, you're going to grow up. You're going to experience some level of discipline and some sense of confidence and capability. You're going to learn to be strong. My teacher reminded me, I don't know, 100, 200, 300 times that our good friend Jesus was a carpenter. I wasn't sure what kind of tools they used back then, but I don't know if it was loud being a carpenter back then. It's probably really silent back then. It might have been kind of sweet, but also, I mean, hell, could you imagine like what Jesus's hammer looked like? Like what that thing looked like? And what was it like for him when he got a splinter? Like he didn't have tweezers. What did he use to pull that out? He wouldn't have to worry about cutting his fingers off with a skill saw, that's for sure. But I bet it was really hard. I bet it was really hard to saw, to cut just with your muscles. Like, that'd be really hard. Somehow he pulled this off. And if you study the lives of the saints, you see these folks were just working constantly. Their whole life was service. Well, there's a whole wing of yoga called karma yoga. I went and visited with Amma, and all she would do is put me to work all the time. It's just like, how many dishes have I washed for Amma? I thought I was just going to get to sit and meditate in her presence. And I did. I did some of that, but I also washed a lot of dishes. A lot of dishes. A lot of dishes. And so while we wake up, awakening, it tends to be about service. As soon as we wake up, maybe not as soon, it's good to stabilize for a while. And then our job begins to serve the truth, however that looks like in your life, to serve the truth. So, Johan, we're always going to be busy, my friend. Especially, in the modern age, it's like, how much does a house cost? How much does rent cost? I mean, how much do eggs cost? It's just, this is an expensive world. So unless we're going to live in the ashram, and even in the ashram, like you'll find yourself like every ashram I've been to, I ended up working there. Just like working a lot, a lot. And so it seems to be one of the things here on planet Earth. But the great question is while we are working, can we be awake to the beauty of life? Can we be awake to those who we are working with and seeing our co-workers as God? And if we're a father, mother, can we see our children as God? Can we see our partner as God? Can you see the boards you got as God? Can you see the client, whoever you're building the home for, as God? And I can say this because like I used to, on retreats, my teacher would, we'd have these big periods of meditation, but then he'd just send us out to work right away. And, sometimes it'd be Craig and, I'd be in charge of a bunch of my teacher's students and be like, okay, I need you all to sand the boards, or I need you to, we're going to frame up some walls or something, right? You need to pass the sheeting up on the roof and, I'll nail it off. And spiritual people, they tend to have this thought like, I need to move really slowly. Like, I got these little bugs floating around in my office. Anyways, did you ever hang out with spiritual people try to do some work? It's so frustrating. It's like just like walking like zombies. I've even been on Buddhist retreats where we'd go on walks in the neighborhood and the teachers would be like, walk at a normal pace because everyone thinks we're in a cult when you all walk so slow. You look like a bunch of lunatics out there walking so slow. And it's just like, we don't want the neighbors to think this is a cult. Just walk at a normal speed, work at a normal speed. It's just, It's hilarious. Spiritual people just think we have to be so slow. And let me tell you this, when you are in vast, spacious awareness, initially, while you start working, you will be slow and you will make lots of mistakes. And those mistakes are pointing out all the ways that you're not integrated, that you're not grounded, that you're not here. So if we're just in vast, spacious awareness, you'll be slow and you'll be aloof and you'll be maybe drooling a little bit, just like, and just like staring off into space. Again, do that in meditation. But when it's time to work, can you be here with your heart? Can you be here with your belly? And when you look out at life with the eyes of God, with the eyes of love, with the eyes of service, with the eyes of strength, you will not fear this world. You will see, oh my God, this world is so beautiful. It's so gorgeous. It's so radiant. So radiant. And there might be times when you stop just out of shock. There's been many times I was building my daughter this, like a clubhouse in the backyard this summer. There's many times I just pick up a board and I would just be in utter shock of how beautiful this 2x4x8 is. It's like, look at this thing. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And how to strategically place it somewhere where it's like, I want to let the beauty of this board shine. I want to let it shine. I want to show up with all of myself because I care about the work. I care about the people I'm working for, the people I'm working with. I care about doing a good job. I care about being a good servant. You see, this quality of care comes online. And so, Johan, I'm going to invite this love and this care to guide you. To guide you. And the spaciousness, like, you can see the space, you can see the space in which the project is taking place, and pay attention to that space. But this is a great question, is can we be active in this space and work at a reasonable pace? Not rushed, but not like some Zen zombie either. We just work at a normal pace to the best of our ability. And Johan, the thing that I always remind you is don't think so much. Because the thinking, all that thinking and the thinking, what is the boss thinking about me as I'm working slow? Like, just show up and do your best. Pay attention to the space. See the beauty of the world. Serve those who you're working for, working with. See their beauty. See your beauty. See if you can get all 7 chakra centers firing at once. Instead of just one, the thinking, judging, am I doing it wrong? Am I going to get in trouble? Am I on the path? Am I not on the path? That's all just divisive thinking. Come into your heart and work from your heart. You'll have a radically different experience. I can't tell you how many times I've been just way up, high on a roof somewhere, whether it's building the roof or laying down some metal or shoveling that roof. And just overwhelmed with grace. And this is a skill to develop, is welcoming grace to flow into you, to lead you, to guide you, to work through you. This grace flowing through you while you're going, da, 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 with your nail gun, just firing them off, loading up clip after clip, in the grace of God. It's possible. It's possible. And I'm going to tell you a funny thing. I want to tell everyone a funny thing, completely inappropriate. I have worked with ladies in the adult industry. I think I'm saying that right? The adult industry. And they've come to me and they've said they've had enormous, vast, incredible spiritual awakenings. Like this vast view of consciousness, seeing love and beauty in a dirty, dingy nightclub dancing on a pole. And it's like, damn, if these ladies can be waking up here, not one lady, but multiple have told me this. You know, people have been cam girls and this and that. I'm going to be in trouble with YouTube. Told me these stories that they've woken up while doing whatever they're doing. Now let's go to the other end of the spectrum. Along with women giving birth, how about soldiers on the battlefield? People are shooting at them. Bombs are flying. And they're seeing this radiant beauty, the hugeness of the sky. This absolute love that makes them not want to kill. It makes them not want to be a good soldier. And it's like, here we have people in war, people dancing and nightclubs, crazy places. You know, rock and rollers singing on the stage. I've met with so many people. It's just, sometimes I really enjoy my job. Other times I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, Lord, help them, please. Help them, please. But other times I'm just amazed at people's lives. Being on the big stage, on the little stage, and having just these non-dual awakenings. Despite everything that's happening in their life. I mean, hell, I've had people have told me horrific stories of violence, you know, them being on the receiving end of violence, you know, going into surgery, you know, just about ready to be dead. I know, look, God is here. God is here. But I mean, that one's like, okay, of course, like God, the angels are there, but on the battlefield, working a bar, driving a cab, being a framer, doing crazy, you know, I've had people who've commit suicide, like trying to commit suicide and failed and waked up through the process. Like that's one. It's like, oh, okay, that's one. Like these are like unlikely places. And so Johan's question is like, can I wake up to God at work? Yeah, of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. You know, I had a friend who his wife was cheating on him with one of his good friends, and he tracked him down, and he's ready to put a bunch of bullets in him. And he was right outside that door, and he had his hand on the doorknob, and boom, all of a sudden God is there. And he walks away. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? Like, come on, like, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? I was going crazy there. I was going crazy. He came to me with this story. He said, Craig, I was just about spent the rest of my life in jail. And that's the other one. Like sometimes, you know, I hear from someone in a prison somewhere, someone who was in prison, and it's like, oh, I found a way to be free in prison. And it's like, it doesn't matter what's happening on the outside. What matters is, where do you identify? Because you and I could be on the same job site, and we could be open to the sky, open to the beauty of the wood, open to the beauty of the work, just really into it, giving ourselves to a good day's work. Or we could be in our head just like thinking, like, what is the boss thinking? Is he going to fire me? Should I quit? Is this the right job? Is this the wrong job? What should I do? What should I do? I should find a way to become quiet, find a way to become deeply relaxed and at peace. We should let go of all these thoughts and just see if there's another way to work, another way to live, another way to cohabitate the rest of brothers and sisters here on planet Earth from a place of love, from a place of emptiness, from a place of great freedom. Okay. Let's hear from Natasha. Hi, Natasha.
Hi, Craig. Um,
Hey, I like those glasses.
Thank you.
Yeah, those are fun.
I can't be at the computer without them
Yeah,
now.
no, I understand. I got some purple ones, but whenever I wear them, people yell at me and I have to put on my clear ones, you know. But anyways, what's going on with you?
Um, it's less of a question for my personal process and more a curiosity about I feel a little bit like a spiritual scientist with a hypothesis, and I feel that you're in a position to maybe either validate or expand upon it about a pattern that I'm observing and directly experiencing. And what you've shared now feeds into it really well, because what I see traditionally is that a lot of the spiritual teachings and teachers are predominantly focused on that Advaita Vedanta, non-dual, and sort of these kind of expansive states in the crown and the third eye. That was the 4 years of my, the foundation of my spiritual path. And then when Kundalini came online, this wild oscillation began between vast non-dual states and increasingly deeply embodied states that are very creative,
Mhm.
dynamic, alive, vital, joyous, actually. And so, in order for me to, I think, awaken to that, there has been just huge emptying, as there is, I'm sure, with everyone here, just massive emptying,
Sure.
rage, grief, just emoting, expressing all the time. But what I'm seeing in my experience and with my network, predominantly of women, is that at least in my circle, and it's small, we seem to be experiencing this process with the Kundalini not just as the vast spaciousness. That for me is essential. It's a container. If I don't keep cultivating that, I get lost in the content. But
Hmm.
Shiva's here.
Sure.
Shakti, Shakti is very, very alive and dynamic in me. That's one aspect of her. She's very alive, dynamic, very
And she
eros
wants
filled.
to be here. She wants to be here. She wants to create. She wants to engage. She wants to make love with all of life.
Mm-hmm.
So she's absolutely embodied. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
So I was just more wondering if I think the crux of the question I had was, do you notice a difference in the wide array of experiences you've had with people? Do you notice a difference in how men and women awaken? As in, do you notice that women, and this is really like these are broad generalizations, but do you tend to notice that women tend to experience or access this creative state I'm speaking about more? Have you noticed this also in men? Because I'm not seeing it spoken about by many, very sort of predominant teachers, and many of them are men. A lot of the focus is on that
Yeah,
peaceful,
yeah. So
spacious.
yeah, so I'll say this. So I'm an interesting person because even though, of course I'm a man, but I teach in a mother lineage. And so like, my lineage has always been a path of the divine mother. And so, there's all this feminine energy behind it. And so then the people who
Mm,
tend to come to me, whether women or men, tend to have this a more of an embodied approach. Like I'm not an Eckhart and I'm not a Rupert kind of guy. Like those individuals, like you said, they tend to teach more from the Shiva consciousness. And throughout history, I'll say that like that's been a very safe place
mm,
for men to go because you can just kind of like hang out and float and rise above, and you don't have to engage with the messiness of life. And that's how ancient spirituality kind of looked at life is, we just, like I have my picture of Shiva right here, is, we're just going to sit and we're going to meditate. And, men's brains and, tend to be wired, for just spending lots of time in silence, lots of times in emptiness. And just throughout history, like men were the hunters and they just go off and spent lots of time in the mountains, deserts, whatever, just hunting and being very quiet, very silent, and not raising kids, not being with the tribe. They'd hunt and then they'd come back and, drop off the food, maybe get a bunch to eat, have some sex, make some babies, and then go run away again. And, men's brains are wired like that. So you probably will see that. For me, though, I don't tolerate it because I've always been an individual who was like, I want all the chakras to be open. And I love this world. I want to engage with this world fully and completely. And so more and more I see that, in this path that I teach is that there's this grace that's actually coming down into matter, forcing us to engage with reality. Now, tonight's talk was very, non-dual is very similar to what, Eckhart or Aja or Rupert or someone might teach, these great male teachers. But I've always been someone who's like, I've got kids, I've got all these girls at my house. So I'm just overwhelmed with feminine energy. And, but that feminine energy, it's in whether you have a male body or female body, like we have both within us. But culturally, men just tend to, just like to go into silence, and they don't know what to do with drama. They don't know what to do with wildness. They don't know what to do with creativity. I saw that with a lot of my colleagues who were teaching. I noticed in them a subtle fear to engage with life. And for me, like, I'm just like, no, like, I'm not gonna, like, if there's fear, I want to know what it's about. And I'm going to look under that rock and I'm going to go get in some trouble until there's no longer fear there. So I'm going to face that thing. I'm absolutely going to face it. Absolutely going to face it. Yeah. Yeah. And so, I think what you're saying is, it's true to a degree. Like if you hang out in non-duality land, there's going to be a lot of old, I'll just say this, a lot of old white men, who are just really kind of philosophical and have a scientific mind and that type of thing. Like if you go on a Rupert retreat, like you'll see, like that's who's there. There's some women there, of course, but a lot of men, a lot of men. But then, like when you go to the world of yoga, like asana yoga, it's like all women. And for me, I'm just like, no. Like we need yoga. Like men more often need yoga more so than women. It's just like as men that are so tight, so rigid, so shut down. It's like, no, men need yoga. They need to move the body. They need to dance. They need to engage. Yes. And where women tend to be real proficient at this. And so you might just be noticing a proficiency that women tend to be more open, more emotionally intelligent. And so they can go there a lot quicker, whereas men are scared to explore the depths and to really be embodied. And it's a funny thing to say that because men always, flex and act like they're so tough. A lot of times they're scared. They're scared, and I say this and I hope this doesn't come off the wrong way, but this will be totally offensive, but I'm just going to say it. Just as a father, I see that like a lot of men aren't even men. They're just boys in adult bodies. And, it isn't until, they have children often that they really start to grow up and they really start to engage with the fullness of spiritual life in an embodied way. Mm-hmm. And so, it's something that I teach, and I tend to teach not from a place of eloquence. I tend to teach in the mud because that's how my life is. It's really muddy. It's really messy. And, there's always some drama and some chaos and some confusion. But as we work through it, you realize, oh my gosh, there's so much creative energy here. There's so much Shakti here. There's so much aliveness here. Like, sometimes, I'll be just cooking, or my wife will be cooking. One of us will almost burn the house down, and God will be somehow showing up, winking at us, as like we're creating fires in the house. And you just see like God will just, come and be like, run in the kitchen now. It's like, okay, run in the kitchen now. It's like, oh shit. And you see that God is alive here in form, in the messiness of life, in the chaos of life, in the confusion of life. And I live kind of in a hippie community. So I've been to a lot of births, like home births. All my kids were born at home. And that takes this great level of trust in life as you feel God filling your entire home. But who's it coming through? It's coming through the mother. It's coming through the new child. It's coming through God giving birth to Shakti in the messiness of reality. In the messiness of reality. And how beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? And so, anyways, I'll just disagree just a little bit with you, just in the sense that, of course, because of the way I teach, I teach this mother lineage, and there's a lot of men here who have big, powerful Kundalini awakenings, and it's just as messy, just as wild as when it shows up in a female, but they're open to it. They're
You've
flown.
confirmed for me that it's the feminine principle, because I asked it in the binaries to see, is it that reductionist in terms of, is it
Yeah.
male or female, or is it this feminine principle that's reawakening on earth
Oh,
right now that is.
absolutely, absolutely. And God's demanding that it reawakens, and humanity's demanding that it reawakens. Because if not, like, we're just all going to kill each other. Because it's the men are creating nuclear weapons. Men are the ones who are like, yeah, let's have some more bombs and let's create more wars. Where women are like, no, 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 peace and love. Like, we gotta learn to live together. And that's what Shakti is. Shakti is like, I'm going to shine this tremendous light into the messiness of human nature. And I'm invoking everyone to wake up, to grow up, to clean up like this big mess that, mostly, men have created. I won't say totally, but mostly, we live in these warring societies. And now's the time. It's like, we got to figure this out. And it's going to be figured out. It's like my teachers, through love, through a path of love, through a path of radical embodiment, through a path of surrendering and letting God move you. So I'm glad you brought this forward, because, I was just talking about open up and being silent. Yes. Okay. That's like stage one, right? That's the basics. Like stage one, we need to open and be silent. But then right away, we're going to be this receptive conduit. And that's the feminine principle right there. We're letting the intelligence of the universe live through us, act through us, speak through us, love through us, transform, transmute through us, heal through us. And so it's all about surrendering to her will, her will, her will. So, anyways, Natasha, so nice to have you here. Yeah, what a blessing. Again, I love your glasses. It's just shining your light in this purple blue. So, Natasha, nice to have you. So good to have everyone here tonight. And again, I'm going to invite us, just before we end, to shut down our eyes. And let's continue with what Natasha and I were speaking about, is let's just shut down our eyes. And I invite you to open your crown more fully and welcome this divine radiance flowing down from heaven and pouring into the third eye, clearing out the third eye, pouring down into the throat, clearing out the throat, and pouring down and merging into this innate goodness of your heart. And I invite you to feel this. What is it like when the Divine Mother comes into your heart? overflowing your heart with love, with light, with radiance, with bliss. And so please join me in receiving this. And the invitation from the Divine Mother is for us to embody this light as it continues to flow down through the heart, through the belly, through the hips, through the legs and the feet, and pouring down into the earth. So blessing you, blessing the collective, blessing the earth. Only through this total surrender to the divine will life on planet Earth transform. We are being active participants here, welcoming this grace, welcoming this love. And by all means, if there's anything in you that feels stuck or hurting or confused, hold it up before the divine, asking her to heal it, transmute it, dissolve it. Whatever it is that's within you, that's failing you, that's blocking you, whatever it is that you trip over, let's hold it up before the divine. Say, oh, Holy Mother, you show us another way. You transform, transmute, heal, uplift. Give us the strength to live in alignment with your highest love. And so whatever our struggles are, we surrender them at the feet of the Divine Mother, and continuing to welcome this light to shine through you and out to all of humanity. And so with that, gently bring the palms to the heart. So much love and respect to each of you. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om. Thank you, Divine Mother, for blessing us this night, this day. We eternally bow before you. Pray for world peace. Pray that your love triumphs through and throughout creation. And so much love. Good night, everyone. So good to be with you. See you next time.